Hey everyone, this problem is from the JEE Main Math exam, the online version 2018. It says the area in square units of the region, and they give us a region, and they want the correct area. So to find area, we can use integration. So we'll start by giving a rough sketch of this region. So here's the y-axis, and here's the x-axis. And first let's graph the line y equals x minus 2. So what does x minus 2 look like? Well, if you plug in 2, so when x is 2, we get y equals 2 minus 2, which is 0. So we're here. We're at 2 comma 0. And then this has a positive slope because it's in the form mx plus b, and m is 1. So it just goes up like this. It also keeps going down like this, but that doesn't really matter, and the reason is they're telling us here that x is greater than or equal to 0 and y is greater than or equal to 0. So we're kind of stuck in the first quadrant here. Okay. Then we have the square root function. So the square root function looks something like this. So we're in this region here because it says less than or equal to the square root function, so we're below it, and then above this line, so we're above it. So this is the region here, this region. This top function here is y equals the square root of x. And again, for emphasis, this line here, let me just write it again, is y equals x minus 2. So we're going to use integration, and let's just go ahead and integrate with respect to x. So when we draw our rectangle, here the top function is the square root of x, but the bottom function is y equals 0. Now when we draw another rectangle over here, the top function is still the square root of x, but now the bottom function is x minus 2. So we're going to need two separate integrals, right? We're going to need two separate integrals. So this number was 2, so first we'll go from 0 to 2. And then to figure out this number here, we can set the y values equal. We can set x minus 2 equal to the square root of x. Now you can square both sides and solve this, but if you think about it, x is equal to 4. Because 4 minus 2 is equal to the square root of 4. So 2 is equal to 2. So it checks. So that's the point of intersection that we want. So this is 4. All right, good stuff. Let's go ahead and write down our integrals. So our first integral is going to be from 0 to 2. And it's simply going to be the square root of x minus 0 dx. It's always top minus bottom. Okay, so the top function is the square root of x. The bottom function is 0. I didn't write the 0, but I did because this is a video. I figured I'd show the extra step. Plus, and then we're going from 2 to 4. So 2 to 4. And this would be, again, the square root of x minus parentheses, then x minus 2, parentheses, parentheses, dx. All right, so this should give us the area of the region. So let's keep going. So the square root of x, we can write that as x to the 1/2. That's a convenient way to write it to integrate. And then here we're going from 0 to 2. Plus, and then we're going from 2 to 4 over here. And again, we have x to the 1/2 minus, and then x plus 2, just distributing the negative 1 here. Right? And then we have parentheses, and then dx. Beautiful stuff. Let's keep going. Let's go ahead and integrate these. So we can just use the power rule here, right? We add 1. So 1/2 plus 1 is really 1/2 plus 2/2, which is 3/2. So this is x to the 3/2. And then when you divide by 3/2, you really multiply by 2/3. And we're going from 0 to 2. Again, we use the power rule, so it's 1/2 plus 1, which is 1/2 plus 2/2, right? Which is just 3/2, right? 1 plus 2 is 3, so 3/2. And when you divide by 3/2, you really multiply by the reciprocal. And we're going from 0 to 2. Plus, same thing here, we get 2/3, x to the 3/2. There's a 1 here, so it'll be minus, you add 1, so x squared over 2. And then when we integrate 2, we simply get 2x. And here we're going from 2 to 4. Okay, let's keep going. So first we plug in the 2. Let me switch colors here. So here we're going to plug in the 2 first. So we get 2/3 times 2 to the 3/2. What is that? I don't know. We'll leave it. Minus, and then when you plug in 0, it goes away. So just minus 0 plus. I'm going to put this in parentheses for clarity. So now we're going to plug in 4. So we get 2/3 times 4 to the 3/2 minus 4 squared over 2 plus 2 times 4. So just plugging in 4 for all the x's, right? That's this number here. And then minus, now we plug in 2. So we get 2/3 2 to the 3 halves. Got to be really careful here. It's really easy to mess up. Minus 2 squared, so that's going to be 4 over 2. Plus 2 times 2, which is 4. I'll go ahead and write it as 2 times 2. Let's not skip any steps. All right. So let's keep going. So this is equal to, let me switch colors here. This is 2/3 times 2 to the 3 halves. All right, this here, this is really the square root of 4 cubed. It's really, you can put the 2 here, goes in the little pocket always, right? This number always goes in the little pocket. Then you cube it. So you get 2 cubed, so you get 8. So it's 2/3 times 8. So it's plus 2/3 times 8. So it's going to be 16/3. Boom, like a pro. 4 squared over 2 is 16 over 2, so it's minus 8. And look at that, that's also 8. Boom, goes away, right? Minus, and then we have parentheses 2/3, 2 to the 3 halves. And let's figure out what's going on here. This is minus 2 plus 4, so it's plus 2. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, this is wonderful. Look, this goes away and this goes away. We have 16/3 minus 2, right? Because there's a minus here. So we can multiply this by 3 over 3. So that's 16/3 minus 6/3, which is equal to 10/3. And is that one of the choices? Yes, yes it is. It's choice 3, so we did it. I hope this video has been helpful. If you're taking the exam, good luck. Take care.